So yeah. So in November 2021, opposite to October, we had a slight decrease in the TVL of the protocol, which is normal because we didn't add a lot of value into the protocols, which means there was no liquidity mining, there were no large loans that were taken. We have roughly a bit about 5 million of TVL, 3 million of which are still in uni. And we created a new pool, which is the idle pool. We're going to talk a bit about it later, but we're also going to add a new pool quite soon. And we have a few other ones which we can't reveal that are in the works and that are very exciting. Something else that's important is that we still have the bounty on the community dashboard. Someone, I think it's called someone who is called Janovsky is working on it right now. But yeah, so the month has been quite wild because we've been working a lot internally on a lot of things we want to present to you by the end of the year or early next year. In terms of statistics, the distribution, the airdrop keeps on going. We have roughly 700 wallet holders, which I think is really good for decentralization. Just a heads up, I don't know if we mentioned it publicly, but currently the team holds no token. So when we say we're decentralized, we really mean that we do not control the protocol. We make suggestions, and it's you guys who decide right now. And yeah, maybe I will. I'm going to let Alejandro talk a bit more about the community growth of the protocol.
Sure, thanks, Figue. Hi, guys. For those who don't know, I'm Alejandro, head of communications. So as Figue just mentioned, yes, we currently have 700 PAL wallet holders, or rather close to that amount. We currently also have, as of Tuesday, December 7th, 2,138 Twitter followers, and also 2,033 Discord followers. The Twitter followers, we had a growth of about 20 to 25 more per day. We're obviously looking to boost those numbers, and for Discord, the numbers have remained constant. But we've been seeing healthy growth in that regard, and of course, there's going to be more alpha and more news to come. So yesterday, Figue was on the Index AMA. For those that were there, it was a very riveting discussion. There is also a private video that's located in our general chat. It's currently unlisted since Index will be listing their video of us on their side, which will be, of course, high definition and whatnot. So we're going to give them that tailwind and let them broadcast it next week. But some takeaways from that call. So there's so many that were mentioned, but I'm just going to list a few of them off the cuff, and this is very important to learn and know moving forward, especially in decentralized governance. If decentralized governance is not solved, a regulator, be it the US or Europe, could classify DeFi as regular tech. We shouldn't force token holders to choose between governance and liquidity because liquidity providers are usually protocol supporters. Most people in this space care about speculation, coins, i.e. the price is not governance. Governance users need incentives and APY. In order to clear plutocracy, the Paladin lending app works on a curve. That means that more votes bought would equal more money to pay. So it's not a matter of just buying, the more votes you want to borrow to swing the vote, the higher the cost. Crypto is supposed to scale coordination, which of course allows building an organization, DAOs, through decentralization. And a few more points. The more conflictual governance is, the more value it has. Inversely, when an actor dominates a protocol, say the less value it has. With current voter turnouts of 5% or less, this could lead to catastrophic results. And lastly, people will always try to buy votes. So transparency, i.e. seeing actors' bags, is key to taking on the problem. And that's what Paladin is always working to do, working towards transparency. And with that, I'm going to pass the speaking baton over to one of our devs, Koga. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. I hope you had a good month since the last call. Welcome to all the new people joining us on the first community call. So a little bit of news around the token, the governance, and all of that delegation frenzy. So right now the circulating supply is around 310,000 tokens. We still have 150,000 PAL tokens in the airdrop contracts waiting to be claimed by new members of the DAO, and that means like still a lot of new people can join us and start participating. Out of the circulating supply right now, 35% is currently delegated either to our 4 awesome delegates that we'll talk a little bit right after, or to just self-delegate to participate in the governance, actually, in all the governance process. So that's really cool. See all of you active and wanted to participate and to be a part of the process. And we're really excited to have the first votes. We have like the first discussion on Discourse that we'll talk about also today. And this is all like really awesome to follow and to be a part of. So I hope you are as excited as we are on that. So to help all of you delegate either the vote to yourself and participate or choose your delegates, we released this month the Delegate Portal, so a page on the app allowing you to either set up your votes to yourself or see a little intro of the 4 delegates that are currently introduced on the portal and delegate to them to support them and help them in being a voice of the community through in the governance process. Right now, they have around 12% of the circulating supply as votes combined, with 2 of them having a lead over the other. But it's more about choosing the one that's more close to you, to your values, and that you think might represent you better than just having a huge amount of votes to them. Like it's nice to see that it is going on and you guys are choosing delegates and all that. Also really cool thing to follow. And when we saw that you were all excited for governance, we started posting the first proposal on the discourse, so on the forum, about the liquidity mining. So we started with the pure number 1 about liquidity mining, and in the beginning also put the team allocation in it, which was our mistake. And once again, a lot of good feedback from the community, from the delegates on that discussion. And we now splitted the 2 into one proposal for liquidity mining, which is right now having nice support and a good ongoing discussion, and another proposal on the team allocation that I'll let Romain speak about.
Yes. Okay. So just about the liquidity mining, if you guys check, we had around 40 people who voted against or for it. So we have 92% in for the liquidity mining right now. There's been some talks, and we highly encourage you to ask questions about this during this community call, as we believe that the idea would be to put up the vote tomorrow on this, because we think it's important to start bootstrapping the liquidity quickly. The discussion is about whether or not it is pertinent to do and interesting to do a liquidity mining campaign if the token has no market value. There are multiple ways we can do it. I don't think we should distribute the token at the serial valuation in terms of APY, because it will be detrimental for us as a community. We would be paying very expensively for the APY, because seed valuation was done pre-product, and now we're post-product. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that some protocols have successfully done liquidity mining by just showing the number of tokens they gave, like Ribbon Finance. Some other have actually failed, like Saddle Finance. So we have to figure out whether or not we believe, and the LBP might be a bit complicated because token is non-transferable. So we might have to check. Maybe it's doable to do an LBP in that way. But the problem with that is that if we do a small one, there's probably going to be a lot of FOMO, which might have a very expensive price. So we have to think about the way of doing it. Let's keep on talking about the rest, and then we can come back to this discussion, which I think is really important. And that's true. Expensive price is good for APY. The second, as you guys can see, there are multiple types of proposals. We have what we call the pure, the PGPs, and the PCM. PCM are going to be introduced a bit later, therefore constitutional modifications once we voted on the constitution. Pures are for protocol upgrades. So it's pure code upgrade, adding protocols and code under the management of the DAO and modifying them. And then PGPs are for token allocations and for partnerships. So the first PGP is about the team allocation. We've tried to do something, I won't say a bit new, but something a bit different, which is we've built the protocol with the money we've raised, and we still are. And the idea is that we want to align the team with the DAO by voting for team allocation. So we've looked a bit at what was on the market. We've distributed between team members. We've kept some funds for new hires, and we came up with the figure of 7.5 million tokens vested over 3 years, which the idea is to have 15% of the supply cap that would be to the core team to develop a specific roadmap. We don't want, so it's kind of a contradiction because we want to give you a specific roadmap on which we want to work for, but we don't want to spoil everything we've been working for. So instead, we've been opting to think and present it in a pyramid, which we call the 3 phases of building Paladin. It's the first one is creating a governance vortex, which is what we're doing right now, via the vote lending. So by creating a vote lending protocol and voting markets, we hope to enable a new money Lego and fuel the development of the rest of the protocol by having basically something that fits the current market, offering new APY to people who don't care about voting and offering influence to people who need it. The second part of what we're building is introducing more transparency in what's currently happening in DeFi, and especially on the governance side. So when we're talking about this, it's not a competitor to Boardroom, to Tally, or to Messari Governor, which was released yesterday, and is, by the way, it's really awesome. I highly recommend you check it out. The idea is to give more clarity about actions and opportunities. So it would be via ratios, statistics, and maybe a broader understanding by understanding when it is interesting to enter into a DAO, when there are opportunities that can be made by becoming an active participant in a state governance. That's the second thing. And the third thing we're building on top of it, we've talked about it, it's basically our long-term goal. It's a redacted project which allows us to enable minority holder coordination. That's basically what we want to build with Paladin, and that's why we hope you'll vote to grant us a 15% allocation. It will be vested over 3 years with a 6-month cliff. So that's the idea. And with a 5% that's released upfront, so we can participate in governance too, because we think it's going to be complicated if we can't participate in governance for 6 months. Okay, so that's about it for the current proposal. There's also one we didn't mention about creating a framework to create proposal. Please feel free to check it out and to contribute. And thank you, Brice, for the initiative in putting it out there. And I'll let Alejandro take the.
All right. Well, thanks again for that explanation, Roman. Just want to remind everyone that the third edition of the Realm Herald Biweekly, which is our biweekly newsletter, will be coming out December 17th. So something to read right before Christmas. So with the first editions already out, you can post in general if you want to sign up to become part of the email list, or if you want to see the other editions, I'll be happy to share them. Basically, these newsletters cover our interoperability partnerships, any new pools, other topics, things that occurred in the space or within our protocol, and of course, possibly some alpha. So since October, we've had something called a contributor framework, and basically, I like to call it also the level up system. So basically, what we have is we have a way for our members to level up in our server, in our Discord, to basically go from the rank of Squire all the way to Paladin. So the current ranks are currently our docs. Again, I can link this information after the call. But we currently have people that have leveled up to our second level, which is called a Wanderer, others that are getting close to the level called Warrior. There are currently 5 levels in total. For Knight and Paladin, we're not revealing the exact leveling up period until early next year or midway through next year, because that's going to be part of the DAOification process. But that is just a cool way that we're trying to RPG, and we're also working on putting the lore into our Discord as well. Status update on the contributor framework as of the past month, going on to from November up until December, we have 10 Squires level up to Wanderers. So we have something like 20 total wanderers right now. So congratulations, guys. Thanks for putting in the work. 0 level up to warriors. Once again, the information is in the level up or subsection or channel inside the Discord server. I can share it after the call. And in order to level up, if you're interested, the proof of work form is sent out on the last Friday of every month. So that will be sent out again this month for January. And I think a lot of people like this. For those that have been in the server, those that know, we have something called KOTW, in other words, called the Knight of the Week. The Knight of the Week basically is a member of the Discord that makes exceptional contributions in the past week. The reward, of course, is 100 PAL tokens and an NFT. A Knight of the Week is nominated every Friday. We already have someone named for tomorrow. And yeah, just, amaze the team, wow the community, be exceptional, and you would definitely have the option to be nominated for the Night of the Week, so you can get those sweet PAL tokens and a nice, cool NFT. And with that, I'm going to pass the baton back to Fia to expand on our Index AMA from yesterday and other information relating to Index.
Yep. So as mentioned in the previous community call, we're finishing our onboarding process for the index token. It's a bit more of a complicated one, not technically, but because first of all, the community has expressed its fears in integrating Paladin, which we're totally okay about. And the second one being that we haven't counted them into the liquidity mining campaign. So I think we should think about whether it's worth it or not to add them, and in which manner. Interesting to know is that it also enables us to onboard index contributors who would stake into this as the governance participants into Paladin. So that's a big question we wanted to ask. I do think index on the long term is going to be extremely powerful because we have to remember it allows you to leverage. It's a sub DAO essentially in a lot of DeFi blue chips, and it's really interesting because it's starting to draw up the designs of the new model governance model where there's going to be a lot of powerful sub DAOs. We have index, but you also have Convex, you have Lobbyist and Redacted that are coming for as Olympus fork. And a lot of these are going to be very interesting to eventually start working with around Paladin. And we're very excited about this. So I do think we should mention, please tell us what you think about having the index onboarding. We think we're ready right now. Okay. And now I'll let Alejandro finish the call and then we can go on to the questions. And feel free to write them, by the way.
Of course, yeah. Thank you again, Fige. So yes, another reason why I know a bunch of you, because I get it all the time in DMs, they want to be on the call for POAPs. So yes, there will be a POAP for everyone on the call. Rest assured. I have everyone marked. Our current bot right now is on the fritz, so I'm gonna do it all manually. Wish me luck. I've done it before. I can do it again. But you'll all receive a POAP soon. Please be patient on that regard. You may get them tomorrow or even early next week, but I do have everyone marked. So all current 99 of you, 100 now, wow, on the call, awesome, will receive a POAP. So keep your eyes on the chat and the DMs, and you will have until December 11th to claim one. I may push out that date a little more, but that's what I'm having for now. And last but not least, we have entered our AMA, Ask Us Anything section. So I'm going to open the floor to everyone. Please feel free to raise your hand to ask the team a question, and we will answer them accordingly. Actually, looking here, looking at the community AMA questions, I see that there is, oh yes, question from one of our mods, Will. What is algo-based governance? And that was directed directly to you, Fia. So would you be able to explain what that is, or is that too much alpha?
No. Basically, we're not the only ones that talk about this right now. I do think we've been thinking a lot about having governance that's not only decided by people manually voting, but also by adding semi-automated voting or permissionless voting. Lido has been working on such a solution, for example, where they give specific limited power to a certain working group. And what happens is that they can basically do whatever they want in this specific thing, for example, managing budget for marketing. And what happens is that each time they do, they have to make a request for 48 hours. And if the community doesn't pass a certain threshold voting against them, they can just use it. That's some kind of, it's not algorithmic based governance, but it's at least a semi-automated governance. And I think it's very efficient. What becomes really interesting is once you start being able to do automate matching between different participants in governance. I'm going to stop at this, but it's much more powerful than optimistic governance. But yeah, there's some really cool things that can be done and that will be done in the future by us or by someone else. Governance is going to go exponentially in the next few years. Yeah, feel free to raise your hands if you want to talk about if you have questions, especially about the liquidity mining, which we're very much looking forward to discussing with you guys.
Yes, 100%. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I saw another question quickly in the chat about L2s and as it come back also about sidechains and all. So what we always say is that right now, governance-wise, it only happens in Ethereum in a real way. Like you could have some project that have some basis of governance on L2s on sidechains. We are always monitoring them and always checking out when there'll be like a good amount of governance activity on those chain. And as soon as that happen, of course, we'll do transition and have a version of Paladin on those chain and start discussing with the protocols and with the communities, of course.
Awesome. I actually see another question here. So this is by Behell. What about a meme contest to increase visibility? PSP Paraswap did this week. Yeah, I'm absolutely open to that. We actually, as part of the contributor framework, which again I'll share the slides with the whole entire, well, it was on the server afterwards, so you can take a look at what we worked on. Part of the contributor framework actually has a requirement of making memes to level up. So, but we could have a separate contest. Definitely like the idea. Memes are always great. Who doesn't like memes? Let's see. So Low Boys Gaming also asks which kind of statistics you think that for the second point will show and how will it help it to get into the DAO? Would you be able to clarify on that question, Low Boys? And if you'd like to hop on stage, you just gotta raise your hand and I will bring you up. No? It's the question you asked earlier, Low Boys. Don't worry, we can come back to it. All right, so follow-up question I see here. Hair Z attended the meeting last week, said we have a POAP this time, how to claim it. Like I mentioned, the POAPs will be delivered manually. Ask you to be patient on that regard. And no, we had an OG call last week. There was no POAP for that call.
Yep. So I've seen a question about the implications of liquidity mining to existing deposits. That's a very good question. And it's something we've been talking a lot about internally because we do want to reward them. My guess is that the time the liquidity mining campaign takes off, there's going to be extremely high APY for the people who are here in early. Because the way we designed the liquidity mining campaign is to have competitive APY, which is between 2 and 10%, 20%, at proposal threshold, which would mean like there would be enough tokens into each Paladin pools to have a proposition threshold. This means that the early depositors will benefit from an early, very important liquidity mining campaign. That's the way we've intended to solve it. And what we've seen, and the goal of the proposal is to have a liquidity mining with the opportunity to either enhance or lower the output of the tokens we're going to give, or stop them if we don't think it's working correctly. And the idea, this will of course be put to a vote, but the idea behind it is that if the liquidity mining campaign doesn't work, instead of letting it rot for 3 months, we should basically stop it after 1 or 2 weeks. it's going to depend basically on the impact it will have. I personally think it's going to work because the Paladin has been building a good brand. That's my opinion, but I am totally open to a different vision if you guys have another one. And yeah, the time to deposit is the best is going to be now. I agree with you.
Absolutely. And also when gas is low. Oh, question by Y10. Do we have any plans to expand on L2? So we've been getting that question a lot.
Yeah, we definitely have. We do want to get on L2. We are aware if your transactions are very expensive lately. I think everyone's feeling the pain. Um, it depends on how we can't get on L2 as long as governance doesn't go on L2. That's the way we've been answering things because basically, if there's no governance, they can't be Paladin working on there. What I think is really interesting is that we're seeing some very positive initiatives that are appearing. I like to name ZK Vote from Starkware. I do think it's very promising. I would like us to be able to work with these people. We've been in talks with them. Let's see how it evolves. But definitely, it's obvious that governance is going to go on L2s at least, and we'll be following as soon as it happens.
All right. Looking for any more questions, guys. Once again, if you have any questions, please write it down in the community AMA chat. Just been going through all of them. And once again, if you would like to come up on stage, just going to check out requests once again. Please raise your hand. Currently, there are 0 requests, but you're more than happy to come up and ask a question.
Yeah, but there's lots of people writing in the community AMA channel, so we're going to stick around and answer the questions. There's a very big quarter coming in, guys. In terms of we've been a bit quiet the past few months by releasing like the token, the protocol, but there's a very big Q1 2022 coming in. It's going to be hell of a month and hell of a quarter. And what's super exciting is that we have been seeing governance take off since we've been building Paladin, like a lot this summer, even more this fall. It's fascinating to see all of this evolving. Would it be a good idea to initiate a campaign to enlighten previous votes in other protocols which could have been prevented from damaging DAO interests? Mm. What do you mean by enlightening? And the next question, from a protocol perspective, which protocols token do you want more deposit from? Oh, that's a very good question. So we have what we call a flagship pool, which is the stake Aave. The reason why we see this as a flagship pool is that it's basically the most interesting pool because it allows you to auto compound for free your stake Aave. So this is the one we think is more interesting. I do think the Uniswap pool, and it's the largest one, by the way, is one of the more interesting one because Uniswap is very underutilized in terms of governance. While there's a big community, and lots of things could happen, and that not that many things have happening in their governance. That's the way I see it. Um, Show people the strength of Paladin in previous case. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think Paladin, that's kind of the thing we've been seeing for the past 2 months. We have a low, our pools are not filled enough to for people to be able to take a large loan, and because they can't take a large loan, there are no large APYs. So it's kind of a chicken and egg problem. That's why we want to enable liquidity mining. It's to solve that chicken and egg problem. What is really interesting is that we have seen people actually take out loans. There were 20 loans taken into the protocol right now. Some of them were taken, there were 1,000 uni loans. And why did the people borrow 1,000 uni? It's because you need 1,000 uni to create a snapshot proposal for Uniswap. So 1,000 uni costs around $20,000. Quite expensive to buy, so complicated to borrow. On Paladin, loaning for a week, 1,000 uni costs $250. So basically, almost everyone in crypto who can afford a transaction can afford a loan on Paladin, which I think is very powerful. Oh, you want to do rect block but for DAOs? That's very interesting. This could be something that we could sponsor via the community treasury. We could vote on it. To be honest, the core team doesn't have enough time to host these kind of things. But if some people are interested in contributing in writing this, please send us a message. That would be really interesting. There's already some really interesting articles that are being written in the Wistali blog post, and I highly recommend people checking it out.
Got one question here by yeah, I got one question here by Lucky Rubius. Just a simple question: how to participate? Just like any other server, Lucky, best way is just be involved in the server in Discord. Again, I will link at the end after this call is over in general to the level up system. How of course, reiterating again, how can become Knight of the Week through the presentation that we just had. But it's really just being part of the fight for governance and be an active member. eh, just making sure you can participate and share your thoughts and contribute what you can to the realm when you can.
Yeah, and about what was asked about the showing the average votes needed to have an impact in governance. So I do think there's a double edged. Yeah, it could discourage people from participating, but that's kind of already the case, right? We have a 5 to 10% voter turnout in most governance. So the idea is more helping DAOs tailor their governance for them to become sufficiently decentralized. It has an impact because of regulatory obligation, and on the other side, they can help tweak their distribution by pushing towards more decentralization. So knowing who and how they should distribute to. I think it would be extremely. It's not about proving the weaknesses of DAOs. Instead, it's giving them metrics to become stronger. So the idea, I'll give you an example, is that today you need 1,000 comp to participate in the comp governance and to be relevant. But it's in the interest of Compound to be more decentralized and that only 10 or 15 comps are necessary. So how do you do this? You need your funds to delegate to more people, to more different users, and you need to distribute to have new entrants into your governance. And the idea is that every single protocol wants to be decentralized, but they don't have the right metrics to be decentralized enough. And what's good for us is that the more these protocols get decentralized, the more there's going to be conflictual and more and expensive governance activity. So all of this is a net positive for governance. So on the plans of marketing, we have slowly opened the works of a marketing DAO. Personally, we've been reaching out to some news outlet to get specialized in crypto to get a bit more talked about Paladin. Right now, we're a bit, I think, under the radar. I do think we could be more relevant. I do think the liquidity mining campaign is going to be a bit more visible. Alejandro, do you want to add something on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, in the past week, actually, I've been talking with some more micro influencers in the space. I also went to DecentralCon in Miami, so made a lot of connections there. Different calls, podcasts for side chains. So currently speaking, there trying to working to get things ironed out. Uh, Persons on LinkedIn from different blockchain organizations. So we're and also I have been at SVA looking at news media outlets based in crypto that we can get Paladin more out there. Since we have been building in the past few months, yes, the growth has been slower than, for example, let's say in October. But as we move forward up until Q2 of next year and even further beyond, you will see between now and then we have a lot of things that we got to roll out. So that would definitely give us more organic growth. But rest assured, yeah, working on all different fronts on the marketing side. So if anyone knows of any crypto YouTubers or influencers, Twitter, like anyone can help us connect with someone you think may be great, especially in relation to DeFi and even more so decentralized governance, please feel free to DM me. Talk about it in the server. Um, but yes, we are always looking on that front, and there are things coming.
Okay, I still see a lot of message coming in, which is good. Keep the. We haven't discussed much more about liquidity mining, guys. We're gonna put up the proposal tomorrow morning on Snapshot. So feel free to discuss more about it if there's things you still think we need to decide. The idea is to basically distribute 750,000 tokens over 3 months on the deposit side and 250,000 as some kind of cashback to borrowers. We think it's really important to reward borrowers because these are activists. So these are people who are actively participating in governance, and it's kind of the people we're servicing. So it's interesting to have them to have the early members as clients.
So a question about a Tokyo reactor. So being even on the list on Tokamak, of course, it will be interesting, but it's still the same question we have right now about the token not being transferable. So as long as this step is not taken to make the token transferable, those kind of initiatives cannot happen. So it's in the plans. Yeah, of course, in the future it will be awesome for the project to be listed on the Tokyo reactor and all of that. Yeah, that detail. But yeah, for now, it's something that we consider for the future, of course.
Yeah, Tokyo is a great project. Personally, I love them. Any other questions, guys, that you think should be answered? You know, we're always on Discord if need be. There's increasing activity on the Discourse. We're really happy about seeing them. We've been talking a bit about internally between initially we choose Discourse about talking about Discourse about Commonwealth. If you have an opinion, if you prefer one of these, please feel free to express yourself. We're always open to this. It's possible to migrate from one to the other. We don't know if we'll do it yet. We're really happy about the activity that has been. Please keep on participating, especially because the core team does not have tokens, and that's something that's really important. If you guys are not here, the protocol cannot live. We're building, but you need to govern to each their job. Okay, seems to be done with the questions. So we're gonna let for 1 minute run in, but afterwards we're gonna leave you guys come back to your life. A lot of things have been happening in governance, guys. I hope you've been following it. There's the Rari and Fey merger, which is fascinating. Very interesting to see that we're seeing M&A go through governance. But you also have the sushi swap debacle, which shows how important it is to correctly manage your governance and the contribution of the team. And on the other side, we're seeing Ave and Jörn discussing about reinventing their tokenomics, which is, by the way, is super bullish for Paladin. And if you own Jörn, we highly encourage you to vote for the X Jörn, which seems like a very interesting opportunity for the future for us and for Jörn.
I think we should pull up that snapshot vote and post it in the server.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah. I think Devour66 is writing. Oh, MDuck, wait. Devour66 looks like he's writing a thesis. So we'll give a little more time. Oh, yes, I do know of the Coin Bureau. Yes, I do. Okay, that's actually don't know of him personally, but it's a good channel. More words about this project.
And by the way, X Wi-Fi is winning, which is good. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for showing up. I hope you had answers to your question. If not, you know we're always here. Please vote. Vote on for the liquidity mining, which I hope will radically help the protocol and get the new heights. And please vote for the team allocation so we can get aligned with the protocol. And we can't wait to show you more. The next community call will be in 2022. So in the meantime, I hope you will all enjoy your holidays. Rest well. In the meantime, we'll be building. Have a nice day, guys.
And for those that have a little time, today or tomorrow, MDuck started a little initiative on the general chat. There's a thread where he asks for words, just like a few seconds to fill that out. And if he wants to help him in his little projects, feel free.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much again for attending. Like I said, I will post the documents and we'll get the slides up shortly. And once again, please be patient on the POAPs. Yeah, thanks again for joining us. And this was a really good call. And we have, like Fika said, so much to still show you all. And with that, that'll be the end of the call. Take care and have a great day, guys.